Hi, Jocelyn with Walter's World here. Today we're going to go through a few tips on traveling through Europe with your kids. It's pretty important to have some good safety guidelines in place before you go. So, number one, probably the most important to me off the bat is getting my kids to hold hands or stay together in a group, because if you don't get separated, you're a whole lot less likely to have some other emergency arise. So if they're little, get them to hold your hand. If they're a little bit bigger, make sure they're not wandering too far. On that staying together thing, I always dress my kids in something really recognizable, either bright fluorescent colors or black and white stripes, just something that stands out in a crowd so that if we do get separated a little bit, I can spot them quickly. And that's always a big help. Here comes Caleb in really bright yellow shirt and green shorts and bright blue shoes. So, while we're traveling through Venice in the Fords, I can spot him in half a heartbeat. Another thing that's really important is to know the number for 911 in every country that you go to. It might be 112 or 118. It's different everywhere. It would be really cool if everyone could get it together and make one big number, but until then, memorize that number in every country, because you never know. God forbid something happens, but better be safe than sorry. God knows we've had stitches, busted nose, chipped teeth, I mean all sorts of crazy stuff, especially if you do this a lot like we do. Something's bound to happen, so be prepared for that. Number three, something that just gets me is people give their kids €1,000, $1,000 cameras and let them out and about in huge crowds full of pickpockets and gypsies, and that's making your kids a target. I get that they want to take pictures. Buy them a crappy little camera or something. It's not a good idea for a 7-year-old to carry around a camera that weighs almost as much as them. It just makes them a target for all those unsavory sorts that you could run into. Another thing, especially for young kids, pay attention to traffic and crosswalks. The rules are different in every country, and the driving habits are different in every country, so it's a good idea if you can get them to just kind of pay attention to what's going on. And a lot of Europe has 2 crosswalks per street, so if you're going and you see a light, it looks like you can cross, but that's only for the other half of the street. There's 2 lanes going one way and 2 going the other. You have to look for the cross signal for your side, not the other side. It's a mistake I made when I first started traveling, and I almost got run down by a Fiat. So, it's a good idea just to pay attention to those things and make your kids understand how important that is too. A first aid kit is a really good idea to pack, and have a mini one with you at all times. Just some Neosporin on the go, some Band-Aids, basic things like that, but it's always good to have. I've got butterfly Band-Aids and wraps and all sorts of things, because like I said, kids can be pretty accident prone, so it's good to be prepared so then you don't have to go to the hospital. Another thing, if you're traveling with small kids, car seats are obviously a concern. We found with an infant, it's really easy to get one of those car seats and stroller combos and take the 2 together, because the car seat sits in the stroller and it's a little more compact. For preschoolers and those kids that are in the booster seats, there's a great product called Bubble Bum, and it's a booster seat that blows up so you can let all the air out and pack it into a suitcase really flat, and that's really helpful. We keep it in the outside zipper side of the suitcase. We can just whip it out when we get in the taxi and be on our way really quickly. Another thing out there on the market I think it's called GoGoBabies.com. They have wheels that you can attach to most upright car seats, and you just pull your kid along behind you. And if you're not going on a long trip and you don't need a stroller, that's a nice way to get your kid around, and it's an easy way to haul them through the airport too. So that's another nice little product on the market for those of you who travel a lot. Another thing to make your kids aware of is what they should do when they get lost, because it could happen, and let's hope that they hold your hand and it doesn't happen, but if it does, We always give our son our phone number with the country code in it. Make sure you put the country code in there. We give him a copy of our phone number and stick it in his sock. That way he doesn't have to worry about it falling in his pocket, doesn't lose it. It's always there, and if something were to happen, he knows to grab it. Another thing that we teach him is that if he can't find a police officer, which is always the best to go to, look for a mom with kids. I figure a mom with kids is going to know when there's a child in trouble. We try to also explain to him the word for help, so he knows the word help in most languages, and even if he doesn't know it in the proper one, it'll probably, especially if you're in Europe, a Latin language, it's going to be close enough. Someone will understand that a crying kid yelling something like help means something. So that's a good one. And another thing you can give your kids is the hotel card. Every hotel's got 1,000 of them sitting at the desk. Take one, shove it in their pocket, in their shoe. That way they know where you are, and the hotel has all your information. They have a copy of your passport, so they can probably do as much as anyone else to help you out. That leads me to the last thing is we all think to make copies of our credit cards and passports and things and keep them, in a safe place when we're traveling in case anything should happen to them. But don't forget to make copies of your kids' passports too, because if they all get stolen, they're all gone. And I know a lot of people just make copies of their own, not thinking about the kids' things too. So that's important to keep in mind as well. So really quick, let's go over our top safety tips for traveling through Europe with your kids. Staying together and holding hands. Dressing in something recognizable, and that goes for both you and the kid. I try to always have something that my son would recognize easily. Know the number for 911. Know an emergency number in every country that you're visiting. Pay attention to traffic and crosswalks, because some places can be really crazy. God forbid you're in Athens and you step out. There's a good chance something's going to happen. Don't give your kids cameras that are really big to tote around amidst pickpockets and things. That makes them a target. Take a first aid kit. Pretty simple, pretty basic, but we always forget things like that. So first aid kit. Car seats. You can always find something that'll fit well. Discuss what your kids should do if they get lost, and make sure you make copies of your kids' passports. So that should make things a little bit easier and safer for you if you're traveling with kids through Europe. Bye from Venice, and don't forget to like and favorite this video, and thanks for watching.